Hi everyone, this is week 24 of the 52-week project. My daughter had a dance to go to for the end of the year. It's our 8th grade dance. She got dressed up, so I was lucky enough to take some photos of her before she left. This one here is, it's a little out of focus. It was 1/80th of a second, so it was my fault. I moved a little bit when I took the shot, so I kind of missed the focus on it, but I like the image anyway, so I figured I'd edit this one here. And I'm going to start off by fixing the color balance here. I don't remember exactly what it was I had it set on. It might have been set to flash. I don't remember, but we're going to have to correct it anyway. So I'm just going to go over to the eyedropper tool, which is a little white balance here. And I'm just going to click inside her eye there, and that did make it a little bit reddish, so I'm going to add a little bit of blue to this and take back some of that reddish tone, and I think that looks okay. That looks alright. Next thing I want to do is turn this exposure up just a little bit. It's clipping a little bit in the blacks here, in the cyan channel, but you really can't see it anywhere. I'm just going to bump the exposure up just a little bit. Maybe right about there. I like that. And just a little bit on the yellow side in the back over here, in the green. So I'm gonna. It looks yellow in the green area, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna go over to the HSL grayscale slider, and in the saturation tab, I'm just gonna move that yellow down. That looks pretty good. And just you can see in the back over here, the preview, it just remove some of that a little bit. And then in the luminance tab, I'm going to go over, and I don't know if you could tell here. Like I said, I missed the focus on this image, so you could see the sky in her eye here. I kind of want that little catch light to be white, so I'm going to turn the blues up to 100%, and I think that about does it for this image. I'm going to open it up into Photoshop, and of course I always open it up as a smart object. Whether or not I'm going to go back into Camera Raw or not, I at least leave myself the option. So first thing I want to do here is bring out a little more color in her eyes. Her eyes are really, really blue. They look a little dull here, a little grayish. So I want to bring out the color. So I'm going to go over to the eyedropper tool, and from this pull-down menu here, I'm going to choose the 5x5 average, and what that's going to do is whatever pixel I click on, it will look around 5 pixels around that center point, and average out the color of all the pixels that are surrounding that point. So I'm going to zoom in a little here, and I'm going to find a little area right around there. And now I'm going to open up the color picker, and I'm going to increase the saturation here to about 60%. You can see it kind of fell in the green area. She really has more blue in her eyes than green, so I'm going to just move this up a bit here. And around 185 or so. It's more of a bluish color in there. Alright, now I'm going to create a new layer, and with a paintbrush, oh, that's a big one. I'm going to shrink that down a little bit. I'm just going to paint that blue color over her eyes. I don't really want to go on the pupil too much, but I'll try and keep it neat and just on the iris there. Go on both eyes here. It's not that big of a deal if you go over into the pupil. As you can see, I did over on this side here. And I'm just going to change the blending mode from normal to color. And obviously that looks really, really fake, so I'm just going to bring the opacity down. I'd say to about maybe 18% or so, 17%, just so it brings out a little bit in our eyes. As you can see, it's, I don't know if you could tell in the video or not, but it's very subtle. I'll bring it back. You can see it's very subtle, but I think it added a little bit to the image there. And the only other thing I really want to do with this is maybe make a little vignette on the image. I'm going to create a new layer again, and set these colors, foreground to black and white. You can also hit D for that, and it will set the colors back to the default colors. And I'm going to select the brush, which I did already. I'm going to make it a larger brush. And I'm just going to paint the outside here. Just in this green area a bit, maybe a little bit on the corner here. I want it to be a gradual change. I don't want it to be this really, really strong cutoff here. So that's why we're using a very soft brush. And I'm going to lower the opacity down, maybe about 30%, and maybe a little higher than that, 40% maybe. Maybe a little higher. I'm going to 46%. Adds a little nice vignette to it. And the only thing really is left is a nice little sharpen. Maybe I'll do a little sharpen on there. I have an action set to just put everything onto a new layer and make it a smart object. Basically, here, let me just show you. What I do is make sure my top layer is selected, and hitting Control Alt Shift and E merges all of them to one layer. And then I do everything with shortcuts. I make it a smart object, which for me is Control Comma, but if you'd like to do it, you just right click on the layer in a blank area of the layer and just convert to smart object. And now once again, I have everything shortcutted, so we'll go to filter, sharpen, and then smart sharpen. And like I said in the beginning, this image wasn't very clear to begin with, so I'm going to raise up the radius, and I think that looks pretty good right there. And the reason why I put it to a smart object is so double click this and change it to luminosity. This way there's no color shift. The colors will stay the same. It's just going to increase the contrast of the edges in the image to give it a sharper look. Okay, and that is it. I'll go to full screen here. I don't know why it's doing that. That's quite annoying. There we go. And that's it. Alright guys, I'll see you next week.